Welcome to Growthcast, Insights for B2B leaders. Today we have Brandon, a very special guest, to speak with us today about business growth and client acquisition and anything else to do with the business growth in his current sphere. Nice to have you on today.
Thank you for having me, Alex. I appreciate it, man. It's good to see you again.
Pleasure to see you again. For our audience, do you mind doing a brief introduction around yourself, your background, and how you got to today?
Sure, I appreciate it. My name is Brandon Hawkins. I am the Chief Revenue Officer at CFO Hub. We are a fractional accounting firm based in San Diego, California, with offices across the country, also in London and in the Philippines. And we really solve for two things: turnover in accounting. So I lost my bookkeeper, my controller, my CFO. You can call me for that. And or for companies that are in grow, scale, and sell mode, we provide strategic CFO support to help rapidly growing companies get to the position that they want to be in. I started my career, it feels like 100 years ago, but it was really like 35 years ago in commercial and middle market banking. And then in private banking, where I was able to really understand a lot of financial mechanics, but more importantly, just how businesses work and how entrepreneurs speak. And I was able to pair that desire and nerd speak that is accounting to lever that and help business owners kind of excel and accelerate their business to sale. It's really fun. I geek out about it, quite honestly. It's really
That's the point of business. If you're passionate about it, it's 10 times more fun.
it
I've done
truly.
businesses. My first business was a gardening service. I hated every single bit about it. So it's good that you're passionate about it. And
It is a difference maker, and I try to instill that in some of the young sales folks that I coach. That oddly enough are what people will call competitors. I call it co-opetition. So I have probably five or six business development people that work in firms, not mine, that
uh,
sell similar services. And for me, I wished when I was a young salesperson that somebody pulled me to the side and kind of taught me some things about selling that I didn't learn until I was in my late 40s and now early 50s that have exponentially changed the way I do things and have hockey sticked my career and my revenue.
yeah, no, that's amazing. I know you've started the business quite recently. How's the growth been from there?
We've been lucky. I mean, I say lucky all the time, and then people are like, no, you guys have worked hard. But the founder of our firm, Jack Perkins, was a CPA tax nerd. About 8 years ago, he brought me in 7 years ago, and there was just three of us in an office suite. And again, now we have close to 90 W-2 employees, lots of offices. And how we were able to hockey stick it was old school. I mean, relationships, cold calling, going to events. We invested heavily in the beginning stages in SEO and pay per click, but it was really old school guerrilla marketing, man. Picking up the phone, getting out there and shaking hands. One of the things I think we did really wrong, me personally, as the sole salesperson in the company for the first 5 years of our existence, was I really focused on commission. I really focused on the sale. Like, let me sell my widgets to people, and it worked. I mean, it got us some growth, but I'll tell you honestly, just prior to COVID, and as we moved into COVID, I saw how people really needed true consulting. And so I really employed and added empathy into our sales culture. And what all that meant was stop talking to people from your comp plan. Start talking to people like they were your brother, sister, mother, father, and just give them the same advice you would give your family, even if that meant don't come here,
Yeah.
go somewhere else. And I'll tell you, we started doing that and our revenue spiked. Once we started doing that as a strategy, as an ethos for our company, we have now made the Inc. 5,000 fastest growing companies 4 consecutive years
Wow.
as a result, including this last year. And it was all from just a simple switch.
And walk me through that. So, what does like the sales process look like right now? Is it just more consulting? Here's where you need to be going.
It went from sales guy generically to resource. It went from let me run down my checklist of a lot in sales we have this, a lot of guys have this thing called BANT as an acronym for budget, authority, need, timing, right? And so you can tell, like we call it commission breath. Like
Yeah.
we can hear it coming from you, and then you're trying to run it down, right? And I was service observing my sales team, and I could hear it, and I was embarrassed. Like I felt bad. And so I said, "Hey guys, come on, let's bring this back. Talk to the client as if you were trying to explain your business to your family member. Like explain that to them.
Yeah.
And even if they told you, like, hey, you're too expensive or we're not a good fit, what would you then do? How would you then help them? And so many people say, well, I tried to sell them something else, or I would try to adjust my pricing. And I'm like, why don't you just tell them to go somewhere else that was a better fit? And once we started doing that, boom, what happened was people said, you know what? I'd rather make it work with you. Or they would go to the other place that we recommended, and then we'd get a phone call the next day. And it would be like, hey, Brandon, my name is Alex. My buddy was working with you yesterday, and you told him to go somewhere else, but he said he had such a great experience that he recommended I talk to you. And we literally saw a 36% increase in sales revenue just from that. Crazy.
Very crazy, and it's kind of it's funny when I teach sales. I'm more of the be personable, be normal, have a conversation with the person, and it's the same thing. It's the same ethos. Like okay, like you're speaking to a friend. If they can't afford you, be like okay, this next best guy will watch YouTube, right? Here's the best YouTube channel, and they're like, oh, I learned so much. Thanks so much for this advice, and then they come back to you. It's always about giving value. So I'm not surprised that that's been working for you. And
It's been difficult, and I get it. When I was a younger sales guy, like you have to make your numbers because
oh,
you have to make your commission, otherwise you get fired. You can't pay your rent, all these other
yeah,
things, and I get that. But there's got to be a point where you balance. I got to get mine, get my money. Two, you really got to do the right thing for the client. And so I find myself every single day saying to a prospect, "Hey, look, irrespective of our engagement, use me as a resource. I got you," and they do.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Definitely. And how do you, as a CRO, of course, you have salespeople under you. How do you manage this? So every salesperson, like you said, they have commission breath. They want to maximize earnings, of course. And a lot of businesses, there's the sales guy and then there's the account manager that then deals with it. But
Yeah.
you probably heard every sales guy says, I don't care, I'll just sell and hand over the keys and I sell the dream and then the account manager deals with it. Obviously,
Yeah.
affects overall business growth because it can harm the client. How do you kind of balance that and be like, listen, if it's actually not a good fit for them, don't sell them? Because obviously
Right.
then they're demotivated from maximizing sales.
Well, the one thing that I hire really good humans first. I also emphasize, like I'm a lifer, my name's not on the door here. So my name is not CFO Hub, but I'm part of the leadership committee
Yeah,
and ownership here. So I'm not going anywhere. But my salespeople, I know this isn't their last job. So
yeah,
I try to give them portable skills so that when they leave me, they can go to another firm and their sales manager is going to say, hey, who taught you that? Right. I want to teach these people how to do things beyond me. I also believe compensation drives behavior. And so I've structured my comp plan to get my sales team to do what we need them to do. And so it's not heavy weighted on slash and grab, bring in a bunch of logos and never talk to them again. It is bring in a bunch of logos, and then you also get commission based on retention and growth. Now, it's not heavy weighted because I want my salespeople to hunt and get new deals, but I also want them to tap in periodically with the clients because it's the right thing to do. It shows your care. And what we found, pretty much every third touch point, the client says, you know what? I'm so glad you called me. I actually have a need for another thing. Or I'm so glad you called me. I was with my cousin the other day and he needs your service. Here's her number. Call her. And so the touch pointing works. I compensate my team to do so, and it becomes a win-win.
amazing. And you've experienced tremendous growth, but I'm sure there was challenges along the way. What were some of the challenges? Tell me about that and how you kind of solved them.
I mean, failure sucks, man. I love winning. I hate losing more than I like winning. And so, we A/B test even scripts for our outbound. And, as somebody, like I write them, I have feelings. So I write a script that I think is great that I really believe in that should get you to call me back because I really have something good I want to share. And then when people are like, no, thank you, or not interested,
Unsubscribe.
yeah, it hurts. Right?
Yeah,
So, I think being vulnerable enough to try and comfortable enough when you get shot down and to
yeah,
keep shooting has been helpful. I think also being diverse in your streams. If you just go out and do events, if you just invest in LinkedIn, if you just invest in pay per click and it goes bad, if Google changes an algorithm, you're in trouble. And so for us, pay per click, SEO, LinkedIn, traditional email campaigns, events, partners, sponsorships, um, Quite honestly, the last 5 clients that we've onboarded over the last month, we asked them, how'd you find us? 3 of them said Chat GPT. So we're looking at all kinds of sources, very diverse, so we're not dependent on any one source.
Yeah. And I say more of a beginner, say owner, CRO, they don't have the funding to go into every source. What would you say is like your top four sources you'll focus on for Q4?
Key 4 sources. Number one, get out in the street. I mean, I love talking to you, and having opportunities to snippet this out and put it out on social media and stuff will be great as a marketing piece and maybe attract. But I personally, and maybe because I'm old, I don't think there's any substitute for relationships. And so we really push our sales team out to the street. Top of mind works. So top four, number one, get out and meet people. It's just meeting people so that they're top of mind and being a resource to those people. Number two, LinkedIn. LinkedIn is not Facebook. Please do not use it as such. LinkedIn is kind of your calling card. It's like a free directory of, hey, I need somebody in accounting. Go to LinkedIn. You can find yourself. Somebody could find you there. So I think those 2 things. Professional organizations like provisors or local associations, whether it's your chamber or Rotary, or for me, Association of Corporate Growth, ACG. These are like-minded professionals that are either in the C-suite or service providers to the C-suite, get you in front of people. I think if you do those things effectively, you're good. The key is, and this is where I struggle, good salespeople are really good at this. We're really good at running our mouth. We really suck at this, the admin and the follow-up. And so you've got to find the right balance between what your gift is to go out and talk and develop relationships, but you got to follow up or they fall off. And so I think as much as you want to get out and do all these magical things, it ain't worth nothing if you don't follow up. And so
Yeah.
I think it would be the fifth of the best things you can do is follow up.
Yeah. But they do say money's in the follow up, right?
Yeah. Yeah. The money's in your CRM, and
Yeah.
get a good one. And I personally use HubSpot.
Oh, we could clash there, but we can discuss that after the podcast.
When I was a big corporate guy, we use Salesforce, and in my personal
Oh no, I
assessment,
absolutely hate that as well.
yeah, Salesforce is for the man to look at what I'm doing. I call HubSpot the FUBU method. It's for us by us.
Yeah.
Because as this old sales guy, all I wanted to do is look at my tasks, do my tasks, get my money, and go home.
Yeah.
HubSpot allows for salespeople to do that. And then as a sales leader, it allows me to get the data to see what people are doing if I need to nurture folks. So it really does everything easily. I
Yeah.
like it.
Absolutely. And with that, you mentioned you look at the data as the leader. What are some of the core
Data
metrics
junkie.
you look at to be like, okay, this is where we need to be improving for growth? Or when you see something go down, you say this could be a bad sign.
Yeah, I mean, we have leading indicators that are super important to us. And so, within our sales funnel, we have a discovery call, a deep dive call, proposal, and then closed, won, or lost. And I can tell you the number of deep dive calls is a direct correlation to our closes. And so on a weekly basis, I'm looking at, discovery calls are the filter. It's just a conversation. It's kind of like a first date. Do I like you? You like me? Maybe, maybe not. Nice to meet you. Peace out.
Yeah.
Or let's go on a second. But if we get to a second date, now we're talking like maybe we have something. We should get married.
Yeah.
Our conversion ratio is in the high 30s, 30% if we get to the deep dive call. And our sales cycle, oddly enough, is exactly 30 days from the time you talk to one of us to the time we close. And so the big indicator is the discovery call on the second phase. The first indicator is the total number of inbound leads in the course of a week. And
Mm.
then I can further extrapolate where they came from and then kind of predict what the close on the bottom. But we're data junkies. Like, data runs it.
Yeah.
Data will tell me what to do, and the humans will make it go.
Exactly. No, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And we're going into Q4, so growth's on the mind. You're probably planning 2026. As a leader, what are some of the biggest things looking at business growth now that you're focusing on?
The number one target for me is the implementation, the adaptation and implementation of AI. And when I say AI, it's beyond workflow processes. If you're just using your Gmail, Zapier, and into your CRM, and you think you balling, you're not. You're not. That's workflow automation. Like, I'm 55 years old. Like, if you are a 30-something-year-old salesperson and you're not using AI on the front end to pre-qualify or disqualify clients, you're probably not going to have a long career. And
Yeah.
so I'm looking at AI as a means to not depersonalize the relationship, because that's like the only thing I'm good at, right? But I am looking at to screen clients so that my sales team has better shots. But I'm also not doing it just to make sure my sales team has efficiency. I want to give my clients front facing some something. Like, I don't want you to just talk to a bot and be like, oh, they're just trying to screen me out. I want prospects to leave with something like, I might not do business with CFO Hub, but thanks, man. I got something for that. I learned something. I got a tool. So number one, I want to front end AI to minimize headcount and expense and to provide a great customer experience. Number one. And then number two, quite honestly, I really want to find ways that my sales team can operate their whole business life from their device. Again, I'm older. Most of my sales team are in their 30s. I call them affectionately kids because I got 30-year-old children. I would love for, and I'm not one of those sales guys who's doing wife. I'm not a sales guy who's doing one of these 8:30 Monday roundups and 4:30 Friday. Where you at? I don't do that. I
Yeah.
want to go make your money and have a life. So AI balance are
Cool.
number one and number two for me, and we will achieve them.
Yeah. Interesting question. In sales, I've noticed a lot of people kind of get a resistance barrier if they take a Zoom call from their phone. Obviously, we can do that. How are you trying to like navigate around that? Or take advantage?
I'm notorious for taking. I took one this morning. I had a walk at 7 o'clock in the morning. I did a walk around the bay here with a private equity firm instead of going to a bar. And then I took a call on my way to my home office here to jump with you in the car. I'm notorious for car calls. I prefer you do it in front of a computer. It's just easier and you could take good notes. But our ethos here is find a way to find a way. And I'd rather you take it from the car and use Fathom to take
Yes.
notes
Yeah.
than miss a call,
Yeah.
because the customer isn't always right, but the customer is always the customer. And we're here to serve the customer, not the customer to serve us. So you better have your ass on the phone.
Absolutely. I love that. Love that. And now let's go into more into sales. So what are
Please.
some of your sales best practices that you would pass on after 30 years in the business?
uh, Tell the truth. Like, I used to lie so much when I was a younger salesperson, man. I regret it. I've had to go and apologize a bunch of times. You ain't got to lie to kick it, as my buddies from college say. Just tell the truth. Be straight up. Now, as somebody in the C-suite, I appreciate it. Tell the truth. We say internally in our firm with emails, when in doubt, send it out. If
Yeah.
you're a little nervous about it, if it's a little aggressive, a little pushy, do it.
Yeah.
You can always apologize. Be a good person first. In San Diego, I think today, again, we operate nationally and internationally, but San Diego, I think today is like the ninth or 10th largest economy in the world, but it operates like a big ass town.
Yeah.
I'm never going to duck anybody in the grocery store or the soccer game because I didn't tell them the truth or I wasn't straight up. And I won't have anybody on my team who operates that way. So, honesty, integrity, aggression, and scrappiness. And then I'd like to think that we empower our sales team to make mistakes. You're not going to get fired for making a mistake, so let it go. Like, go yard, swing for the fence. I got your back. I would say do those things and also study. Like, I think so many times, especially new salespeople, when they get hired, they got like a 90-day ramp up, and they use that time to like get on Facebook and order business cards and get their headshots.
Yeah.
Man, spend every second you can on your company website, learning everything about your company, learn how the sausage is made, learn your competitors, get to know your competitors, because my competitors refer me business. Sometimes it's vertical capacity, sometimes it's expertise, sometimes it's a cultural fit. I do the same. So use your time wisely and just be a resource. If you just are a sales shark, you'll make money, but your career will be short. If you do the right thing, you'll be an old guy like me, and my phone rings. Like, my phone rings every day because you do the right thing. So I want to teach people to do that.
Cool. So when was that mindset set shift? Because obviously every young salesperson lies to get the sale, commission breath, buy the Rolex, go from there. When did you kind of say mature and say, okay, telling the truth is actually better?
Man, this is embarrassing as hell. Man, I wish, because like I said, I'm 55. I wish I could say, man, I was in my early 30s and this really nice mentor pulled me this.
Yeah.
Man, it happened when I turned 50.
Okay.
It turned 50. I met a woman who now is my wife. And she really just poured empathy into me. And she's like this earthy, pixie dust fairy of a human. And I'm an old, just get it done lunch. Yeah. And so it has changed my whole life. Being empathetic, learning to just be a good dude and the universe will provide for you, which sounds so California, but it's true. It really is true. And when you're younger and you're prettier and you got energy and all this other stuff, like that's the time to take advantage. And I wish I had. And now that I am, I'm just sharing it with everybody I can because it works and I can objectively prove it.
Yeah.
You can look at our numbers. You can go look at Inc. 5000. You can go look at a bunch of stuff and see like it's this not me pitching pixie dust. It works. So yeah, I mean most people say it's just good people, like some mentor or some OG, somebody who really knew something pulled me to the side. I just got lucky that it was a super hot redhead who did it for me, and then I married her.
I mean, all the time, women make the biggest decisions in a man's life of where to go. So
Yeah,
you get
look, I mean,
broken up with, you go to the gym. So it's always something like that.
I had great parents, but yeah, both my parents, but my mama and my wife have really really helped me. So I
Yeah,
encourage everybody to get one of those or a husband, whatever you're into, a
yeah.
good partner in your house and in your business will make a huge difference. And I have both. In my case, chase being a great man and watch what happens.
Amazing. No, I definitely agree.
I'm
Level up
trying.
and everything else comes to you.
It does because as much as my guys, my partners love me, man. If I disappeared tomorrow, they'd have to keep the ship running. Right?
And they have to figure out sales.
Yeah,
They'll
and I
start
work.
lying and then they'll figure out telling the truth better.
Yeah, yeah. Well, my guys wouldn't, but others would.
Yeah, most of the time. If you've put installed a great sales training, then that's good. And that's probably my next question is how do you go about training the team? Do you follow that methodology you mentioned, BANT, there's millions of them, MEDPIC, etc. Do you follow a specific methodology or is it really about building the relationship, see what kind of like pain points there are where you can support and then just consult them on the best way possible?
We do have a methodology, and it's semi-proprietary. It's weird in that it's called internally we call it the brand on method because my name is Brandon. So it's a
Okay.
brand method. But essentially, like, and this is the one thing that I'm actually worried about because it's not scalable today. Because it's me. I hire somebody. I essentially put them on my hip for 90 days, and I include them in every conversation I have. All the C-suite conversations, internal sales conversations, everything and through the training program, some of osmosis, and then the introductions to market makers in the various markets that they're in, the sales team kind of gets that. And then we have a kind of a program over the first 90 days of coaching where they have no sales responsibility. It's just intensive college for work. And then I kind of let them go on their way, and then I just keep up with them and watch them. I'm not a micromanager. I'm a helpful coach.
Yeah.
And then away we go.
Amazing. I like that. And then what about say they're 6 months, 12 months into the space? You know, salespeople, we need to be on top of sometimes because we get into our own ways and you need to
Well,
be
we're
readjusted.
fortunate. We're fortunate in that regard because I take pride in this. No salesperson that I've ever hired has ever quit. If you look at my LinkedIn, there are probably seven senior vice president banking jobs that you don't see. Because I only worked there for like a year and a half. And typically, guys, folks quit jobs because of compensation or coaching, right? So every time they change the comp plan, I quit. Every time my boss, my coach, my head coach changed, I quit. So in my environment, no salesperson that I've ever hired has quit. Having said that, I fired half the sales team for lack of production. So first 90 days, no production goals, all training. I'll keep you on generally for another 6 months, and I'm coaching you. I'm working. I'm handing you deals. I'm introducing you to referral partners in the market. To be very honest, as a sales guy, I can figure it out in a week if you're the right one. In
Yeah.
a month, if I look at your expense report, I can see what you're doing. I can tell. And so my fault, 100% my fault. I've missed 4 times. I've taken 4 really bad shots, and that's cost us money because we invested in these people and they didn't work out. I've learned those lessons, and then the next group of people I've hired, they've all worked out. But that's just part of the game.
Of course.
That's just part of the game. I'm sure some company that hired me back in the day feels like they've missed on me too. So it's just part of the game.
Yeah, no, of course. I used to work in corporate, and it was like their whole ethos was they hire 20 salespeople, 10 will get fired in 3 months'
Yep.
time, they quit, and then the other 10 are just good salespeople and they make
Yeah.
up for
And they flush out the bottom 30%. That
it.
just
Exactly.
happens.
Exactly. But they know this is the sunk cost long term, it works out, and that's it.
And that, quite honestly, for us, that was the part that pained me the most, because I had those fails early, when we started. And of course, when you're early, we didn't have any money. So that's when I had to go to the CEO, our founder, Jack. When it's his money. It wasn't our money. Like, I'm an equity player. I didn't put any money in this piece. I brought money, because I sold. But when we started this thing, nobody went to me and was like, yo, B, go get an equity line on your house. That was Jack. Like,
Yeah.
so when I'm hiring salespeople at, 100 grand base salary, and then 8 months later I got to let them go, we sunk that. That's on me.
Yeah.
And that bothered me. Now it doesn't, because we've made up the weight and it's just part of the game. But when you're young in your career, those things hurt.
Yeah, you can't afford to sunk the
You can't.
cost.
And so I find it now, it's really easy for me. Like now, like, yeah, you're Inc. 5,000 a bunch of times, and you got all these employees, and yeah, you got to roll all that. Yeah, it's easy now, bro. But we could have went under a couple times. I probably could have got fired a couple times, because of the stuff. So it's, if you're able to endure, if you're able to have the right team, and if you're really truly working your butt off and doing the right things, you're gonna be okay. You're really gonna be okay. And I can prove it, because I did it. Because I've screwed up a bunch of times.
Yeah. No, I think that's, but you have the self reflection of how do I avoid this next time.
That's my new thing. The favorite question that I ask, and it stumps everybody in every meeting after they tell me how wonderful their business is. I'm like, okay, cool. What sucks? Tell me what sucks. And they're like, and they don't understand why. And I ask the question for two reasons. One, I want to understand your self-awareness.
Yeah.
Do you know about you? I know what sucks about coming to here, coming to work at, or coming to do business with my firm. I know what sucks. I want to know if you know self-awareness, but I also want to know how we're going to work around it. And so the question is, Alex, if I sign up to work with you and my buddy does, and the year from now we're at the bar and we're talking trash about Alex, what are we going to say? And the fact that you know about that is awesome. And the fact that you have a plan to help us get around that is even more awesome. And so these are the things that as you get when you lose all your hair and all your hair gets white, you
Yeah.
learn these things. And so we've just been very fortunate, man. The knocks that we've taken have been good knocks.
Yeah, that's amazing. And with coming out in 2026, what's kind of like the trends you're spotting in the market or using these learnings you'll be implementing for 2026?
Speed to delivery. Speed to delivery has been critical. Adaptation of AI, even if it's just workflow automation, the market wants to hear that you're doing it, because they're not necessarily doing it, and they want somebody to lead them. And I would say, especially in financial services and in the consulting space, the number one thing that CEOs are asking me for, and I talk to, gosh, probably about 650 CEOs, either face to face or Zoom every year. They want an opinion. Like, they want an opinion. They don't want you to like take their data and then just give them back something. They want you to give them back something and say, Alex, I was looking at your documents and your data. You told me you were trying to grow at a 25% clip. I was looking at your data. Your current trends are going to get you at a 17%. But I was working with a client like you like 3 years ago, and here's what they did. And this is how you'll get there. People aren't doing that anymore because they're afraid to be wrong and they're afraid to be embarrassed. I'm not. Like, I've been doing this a long time. You're paying me for all the knocks that I took.
Yeah.
I might be wrong, but I'm not afraid to give you an advice. And if I am wrong, I'm prepared to back it up and fix it. And I just think people are afraid to do that. So I think the number one trend that you're going to see, if you're smart, the best of us are going to give real advice. We're going to stick our chest out and be like, I said it, and handle it. And that's not bragging or big boy shit. That's just stepping up and doing real business.
Yeah.
And yes, what the kids say, I'm standing on business.
Yeah.
CFO Hub and Brandon Hawkins is standing on business. Like, if I tell you something, that's what it really is. And if it doesn't work, I'm going to fix it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's kind of part of like human evolution, right? Our parents go through knocks. They tell you don't do this. This is how we do it, or how we did it. Might not 100% work, but it'll probably get you in a better direction than you figuring it out by yourself. And everyone's gone through that.
Oh, I mean, I know my way isn't the only way, and it for sure isn't the best way. So I'm talking to guys like you all, like, how you doing it? How'd you figure it out? Put me up on game so that I don't make these mistakes. And then I will share that with people. First time I share it, I'm gonna be like, Alex told me. The next time I share it, it's mine.
I love that. And then you're just a genius overall.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I think I heard that, or maybe I made that up, Alex.
Yeah. As long as you tell me at the bar later on, I don't mind.
I got you, man.
Perfect. And then to the end of the podcast, what's one piece of advice to another CRO or growth leader that you would give them?
I would say do it your way. You have to do it your way, no matter what your way is. Do it your way because they're gonna fire you. Like whatever. Like I coach high school football for fun. If it doesn't go well, if you don't score enough points, or if the other team scores a bunch of points, they're not going to fire the defensive coordinator. They're not going to fire the offensive coordinator. They're going to fire the head coach. So if they're going to fire you, Mr. or Mrs. Head Coach CRO, do it your way. Don't get fired on somebody else's playbook. Get fired on your playbook. And that's hard to do. That sometimes it's tough because you want to keep your job and you want to do what they say. That's
Yeah.
not why they hired you. They didn't hire you to do it their way. They hired you for you. So do it your way. And
Yeah.
that's for me most of the time.
Oh,
Not all.
I completely agree. I've spoken with a few CROs where it's like they're brought in for email campaigns. They write up the scripts and the CEO says, I don't like this, and he changes it, then it tanks. And the CRO is like, well, I told you, but he said, oh, I hired you for this, do it your way. And then just,
I think you also have to decide because there are different. There's in my mind there are many different types of CROs, but there are really two, and I'm not one of them. Well, there's the go to market CRO. That's she is developing marketing strategy and who to talk to and why, and a long term outlay of marketing and sales resources and assets. I could do that a little bit. That's cool. That's not me.
you're
I'm
a
top of
salesman.
funnel. I'm
Yeah.
top of funnel. Are you trying to grow revenue 25% right now? Are you trying to double your business this year? Make a splash right now? Call me. Call me. I'll get that for you for sure. And there are lots of CROs out there who can do that. So it just depends on where you are in your life cycle, your maturity.
Yeah. Do you think you can be both?
I think there are some guys who could be both. I'm not one of those. It's like the Travis Hunter. Like you can't possibly line up and play wide receiver and then turn around and play defensive back the whole game.
Yeah.
Just like our firm, like we could do taxes, we could do HR and payroll. It's right in our wheelhouse. But we're just excellent at the straight up accounting. So we're just going to be excellent at that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I probably could do go to market. I could figure it out and I could chat GPT it or I could bring in a partner. But I'm good at that. I'm not great at that.
Yeah.
I'm great at the rev piece. So I'm just going to stay in my lane.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. Well, pleasure
Yeah.
having you on today as a guest today, Brian. And I'm sure we'll get a second episode in. And
I
then,
would love to. I would love to. I love your energy and your approach and how we were able to get together. I have no doubt that you have 100 good podcasts in the can that I can't wait to see.
yes, definitely.
And
I'll share a few
maybe
with you.
steal a couple pieces of knowledge from some of your people. So thank you.
Absolutely. Pleasure having you on today as a guest. And to the listeners, thank you for listening today. And we'll see you on the next episode of Growthcast. See you guys.
Excellent. Thanks, guys.